Buddy, what's up? SrSpookfest here. How we doing? So, I got some cool stuff to talk about. It's another one of my favorite conspiracy theories. This one has to do with the Grand Canyon, obviously by the title, but it kind of ties into what I was talking about with my last conspiracy on Robert E. Byrd and Antarctica and flying into inner Earth and underground civilizations. So, I'll get into it in a minute. What's up, One Personal? What's up, Michael Birkin? How we doing? I don't know if my volume's turning down on my TV or not. There we go. So, cheers. And thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks to all my subscribers. You guys are awesome. Cheers. So, no, I didn't get in trouble. Uh, I didn't get in any trouble the last time I went out on my live out in Yorktown Untouched Road. What's up, OG Sunshine? You lost your voice. Michael Birkin doing the cartoon voiceover stuff. Cool. But you lost your voice. What's up, four people? So tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about Grand Canyon, some mysteries in the Grand Canyon. My last investigation went well. I didn't have any of the equipment go off out in the untouched road in Yorktown, Virginia. But leaving, a cop did jump out of the woods at me. I had to take that out because he got all my information, and I didn't want to put it up on YouTube. But the cop was really cool. I saw some turkeys, some deer while I was out there. Found some dug holes out there. Next time, I think I'm going to actually get the pass. I didn't realize I had to have a pass to go walk through the woods out there. I looked up the history. I didn't look up if you needed to get a pass to go walk around the woods. So, tonight will be fun. It's one of my favorite mysteries. It has to do with Egypt and the Grand Canyon and secret caves and an explorer from 1909. I do want to talk a second about the beach investigation. I do think the REM pod worked, and I want to go back there and see if it does the same type of thing, because then maybe it's just that area where that REM pod will go off randomly like that, and I want to set it up on the same spot in the beach and see if I can recreate it or have the REM pod act the same way. And if it doesn't act the same way, then, or if it only goes off when I'm asking like 1, 2, 3, I would like to see what it does. So, what's shaking, OG Sunshine? Who else is here? Lurkers. What's up, Lurkers? So, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Grand Canyon, the Egyptian connection, or if there's like how some of the names of the mountains are actually named after, like even Ra and this is why I wrote it all down. I can't remember everything. I think Mount Isis is one, and there's weird stuff going on over there. So, we'll just get right into it. A few more people come in. What's up? 8 people. How we doing? 5420 which? So I really do enjoy going out and investigating, but I enjoy this just as much too. This is fun just to talk. Spectral Whispers, hello. Is everybody here? We need a few more people and then I'll start. If you haven't heard about this Grand Canyon Egyptian mystery stuff has to do with stuff in Antarctica, very similar with the pyramids under the ice and inner Earth. Similar to other stories too, like so 1909 was G.E. Kincaid, and he traveled through, and how the government and the Smithsonian are actually covering this stuff up and not allowing people to go in there and find artifacts. So a lot of that does happen, It has to do with giant bones too, giant skulls and giant humans 8 feet tall. How they suppress that information. So there's a lot that I'm going to be talking about. I have 5 pages in my wacky notebook of just bunch of pages written about all about the Grand Canyon and the mystery, because I was gonna do more conspiracies. I have a lot more conspiracies I'm gonna talk about. I have some other favorite conspiracies. This one's rather interesting to me because I didn't know too much about it, but I've done a lot of research. And over the years, I remember back probably 2015 or 16, somebody had tried to go to the Mount Isis spot and found old concrete blocks with metal hooks and looked like people were going over the side to get into a cave. And a lot of caves in the Grand Canyon are actually restricted, federal land, shut down, no trespassing. Even some stuff is blocked out on Google Maps. You can't look at some of the stuff throughout the Grand Canyon. So it's also like a no-fly zone, so no planes or helicopters are supposed to fly in there, but people have caught them on camera flying through the canyon. I think 8 people. What's up? Let's see if anyone else is saying anything so I don't miss anyone. I will give you a shout out. Cal H, hello. By 420 Witch, Mysteries Untold by Michael Birkin. OG Sunshine, Spectral Whispers. Nobody else is saying anything, so I'm not going to shout you out, but let's get this started. So, Grand Canyon Egyptian Mysteries. In about 1908, it was, let's see, Teddy Roosevelt. 1908, Teddy Roosevelt wanted Grand Canyon off limits to all public and all areas of which the areas he wanted off limits were named after Egyptian gods. There's a whole bunch of names. They also thought maybe it's not Egyptian and it's Tibetan because there's Buddha temple and there's all these other temples and different names. I'm going to read you some of what I wrote down. This is just like skimming the surface of this conspiracy. But I do believe that we have artifacts from the Grand Canyon that were actually like Egyptian or maybe close to Egyptian, but adjacent. And they're not sure if it's Tibetan. The scientists couldn't figure out what this stuff was. And a lot of caves, like a ton of caves, are blocked off with metal or actually collapsed on purpose by the different government agencies. So, like, it's said for people's protection, and it's also to protect the bats. I mean, there's people that fall in the Grand Canyon every year anyway. It happens all the time. I think like one person a year falls in the Grand Canyon. I don't know if you know that, but so if it's just for, I mean, there's professionals that go caving that could go research this. We have scientists, we have archaeologists that could go research this and find out what culture it was. So G. Kincaid traveled down the Colorado River. While he was traveling, he got near Mount Isis, and about 2,000 feet up on a cliff wall, he was like got out of his canoe, saw something like a big cave, and he was walking up the side of the Grand Canyon trying to find if there's a path up to the cave or if he could get up there. Suddenly he found a giant set of steps up, like thousands of stairs carved into the hard rock or the sandstone like cliffs of the Grand Canyon. So he got up to the mouth of this cave, and the cavern entrance was definitely man-made. He found hieroglyphics above the door and seemed kind of Egyptian or maybe Tibetan or something like that. 1908, so the year before, Teddy Roosevelt tried to actually shut down the Grand Canyon so people couldn't go there. He made it off limits, but Kincaid still went with some explorers. The caves and the dwellings, there was hundreds of rooms, and this cave went on for a long time in different rooms and different like big rooms, chapels, and like what seemed like granary holds, and he found pottery and all sorts of stuff. He saw what looked like sort of Egyptian glyphs. The ceilings and walls are very straight and looked professionally arranged or carved. So maybe done with like a really high tech stuff way back. We're talking like even before Native Americans were in America. So like an old civilization before, like, think Atlantis times or whatever. We're talking myths and legends because none of this is. I don't think they will ever say that any of this is proven. This is just what I do believe in this one. Um, the fact that I know the Smithsonian has giant skulls and giant skeletons, 8 feet, 9 feet tall, even the coffins. But then the Smithsonian came out and said, "Oh, we lost them." They're really just locked up in the Smithsonian basement, and they don't want to show them because it shows a different history and how long people had technology way back then. So, Kincaid, G.E. Kincaid also said that this place probably had hundreds of rooms. The caverns went on for a long time in the Grand Canyon. Approximately 50,000 people could have probably lived here, and there was pottery and tools and old broken swords and shields, containers, smelting pots of copper and brass before the Bronze Age. So this civilization had metal, melting brass and copper and doing Bronze Age stuff 500 maybe more longer before the Bronze Age. So the Smithsonian did send people to the Grand Canyon. Kincaid had a group of people, archaeologists, that went into the Grand Canyon and searched for this stuff. So the symbols had 40 archaeologists, scientists searched and uncovered many symbols in the different rooms across all doorways and pottery. One room after the smelting rooms before the before they actually got into like the heart of this place, actually found a room with approximately 100 mummies on the walls. Every mummy was a male mummy and had weapons in different jars set out in front of them with different hieroglyphs that didn't exactly match Egyptian or Tibetan, but like a mix of different things from the far uh, east or west. They weren't sure. Uh, 40 different archaeologists went to this site. They also found what looked like a giant Buddha carved into the earth. The Tibetan lore or Egyptian lore, looking at items that looked like Egyptians, or these mummies were also different. The only male that they thought it was a warring clan, and these were the warriors buried and reserved, and they each had like a spot carved out in the cave on the walls, and they were all over the walls with mummies, and they were wrapped with different cloths and bark put over them from trees, like, so I'm sure it just looked like really old dried out bark. I don't know. What are you guys saying? Who's here? The Occult Life, hello. Mad Paranormal, what's up? Julie Jaya, hi. Let's see. Anybody else? So, Mad Paranormal's awesome. The Occult Life's awesome. Check out all each other's channels. Make sure you guys subscribe to each other. Oh, real quick. Shout out Tom Green. Tom Green's awesome. Check out his YouTube channel. If you don't remember Tom Green, I used to look up to him. Check out Tom Green. He's great. He has like a comedy special on Prime Video and stuff. The first podcaster ever on the internet. He gave Joe Rogan the idea. He gave other people the idea to do, like street interviews to people live. He gave people a lot of, Jackass. So Tom Green came up with all that stuff first. Mad respect to Tom Green. He's awesome. Check him out. He's riding horses, and he's got a mule and a dog, and everything went okay the other night. Yeah, I was fine. The cop was cool because I'm cool. He did jump out of the woods and surprise me because he didn't have any lights on. He was waiting in the woods for me to come out. I knew he was going to probably ask me some questions. It's fine. I didn't know I was supposed to get a pass to go walk around the woods, but He also was closing the gate, and he didn't want to like lock me in there if I had a car back there and he didn't see it. So he was being nice. Cops are good sometimes. Um, let's see, where was I? 100 mummies on the wall of the cavern, all male, probably a warring company. The fact that they had bronze metal capabilities before any Bronze Age, because this stuff dated back way older than what previously was said, and the Smithsonian has covered this shit up. And I know that's true because I've watched the secret vaults of the Smithsonian. They talk about the giant skulls, and they showed a couple giant skulls, like a little part of it, or the jawbone, and then they would show an elongated skull. And it's like, okay, so you know you have this stuff. Pomp, what's up? AV Stevie, what's going on? Who else is here? Anybody? Pomp was there when I was getting in trouble with the police, I believe. I thought this was tomorrow. No, tonight. So, if you like mysteries and the Grand Canyon and the Egyptian stuff, you might want to start over. I've already started the story, but so let's see. Thought Impossible. The Smithsonian actually has covered up some of these artifacts, saying the Bronze Age items, and it's basically been said that it's a fake, and like all this stuff was planted there and fake. There's no way. You don't have a couple scientists go and look at this stuff, and then you have 40 more Smithsonian scientists and archaeologists go and look at it for no reason. Thought the mummies were deemed warriors, tribe, wrapped in fabric and bark. The Smithsonian said must have been the city with unknown civilization underground. The amount of rooms and on all the urns and over all the doorways had hieroglyphs that seemed to be slightly Egyptian, Tibetan, or maybe another culture, but never really matched up to any of these. The Egyptian, some have been found in southern Arizona. Some of these other hieroglyphs actually match that stuff in southern Arizona. So if you look up southern Arizona and look up hieroglyphs, you'll see some of these, and that's what they say. They look similar to some of those in southern Arizona. So Kincaid is going down the Colorado River and finds all this stuff. He said it predates Native Americans to America. Um, Only two animal hieroglyphs were ever found, and one of the glyphs was actually of a prehistoric unknown animal. It looked prehistoric to the archaeologists. None of the hieroglyphs could be explained exactly by professional archaeologists, and the Bronze Age items did date back to further back than the Bronze Age. So these things were. It's basically proving that we had metallurgy before Bronze Age stuff, or so people were using copper, bronze. Obviously, if they're carving out mountains and finding metal, they're gonna try and use it. They could smelt and make these weapons and swords. They found broken swords. Oh, OG Sunshine, your kid got into college. Nice, dude. That's awesome. Growing up fast. Mariah, I'm not sure. There's some people that are leaving, but that's okay. Thank you everybody for coming in. I still got two more pages of this. This stuff gets crazy. So basically, you would think me saying, "Oh, there's Egyptian stuff or Egyptian type or maybe Tibetan or Buddhist stuff in the Grand Canyon." That's crazy. Keep listening. So by the Smithsonian, different strange tablets have been found by the Smithsonian, and they still have them in the vaults today. They may have clues to ancient civilization that predates the ones from Native Americans, and the Native Americans even say themselves that they came upon these caves, and there were things called ant people. So now we're getting into like lizard people, ant people, and this is Native American legend, the Navajos and all these different cultures. Um, None of the hieroglyphs could be explained, but the professional archaeologists were still working on it up to probably like the 50s or 60s, and then they started really hiding all this stuff. Maybe when the UFO stuff started coming out, they really started hiding all that extra knowledge that we should have. What you guys saying? Pomp in America geezer definition is someone as old as just saw deaf and British. AV Stevie. Zach, what's up? So with some of this stuff, all right, it's hard to believe, but some of it I do believe because they wouldn't have explorers and people from the Smithsonian going there back in 1909, 1910 and exploring all these things if it wasn't at least substantial enough for them to look at the hieroglyphs and say, okay, we need to get people out here. Cheers. Where was I? The Bronze Age items seemed impossible to most of the scientific field. Giant skeletons were found in different areas. So I don't know if they're saying that they found giants or giant skeletons, but they did find two giant coffins 8.5 feet long, and they went to the Smithsonian, and then the Smithsonian said, "We don't have those." And then years later, I think it was 2011, they did find them. They were in the vaults of the Smithsonian, but then they also said, "We can't go in there. There's asbestos." Okay, so what about the giant skulls? Shouldn't we protest a little bit and be like, we want to know what was really going on way back then? Maybe 12,000 years ago? Who knows? There was people, and maybe they had better technology. Maybe that was the time of Atlantis. Right around, there's a thing called the Younger Dryas. The world flooded. Everybody knows the story of Noah's Ark, but that's not just the only story. Look around the world. There's always a flood story from every continent on the earth. So this right here, Egyptian type stuff in the Grand Canyon connects to like Antarctica with pyramids underground. Grand Canyon's got pyramid names all over it. Pyramid like structures, maybe even like Egyptian carved out statues, Buddhist statues. There's Isis Temple. There's different temples. I'm going to tell you some names of them. Smithsonian shut down the project after some of these artifacts seemed to disappear throughout history and shut down the project, blah blah blah. The Grand Canyon was closed in a lot of areas, and a lot of caves have been blocked off, and the maps have been blacked out. No fly zones all over the Grand Canyon. You can't fly around it. I'm sure some parts of it you can, but a lot of parts are government land, federal land, closed off by the government or closed off by different, groups, protected areas. So, Professor. Okay, so here's the helicopter and a unmarked plane. Who is this? No fly zone yet. Planes and helicopters have shown up if you go in the area. Some people have gone looking for these caves, and a black helicopter has shown up with no markings, and that's on videotape. Somebody videotaped the black helicopter while they were in the area. And another time, a blank white plane flew through the Grand Canyon as they were trying to climb down the cliffs. So the people that were searching for it, and that's like more recent, probably 2013, actually ran away. They left because they felt like it was a warning to them that they can't be doing this. So planes and helicopters that shouldn't be there show up if you go into this area of the Grand Canyon where there's Egyptian stuff. And I mean, it's 1,000 feet or 1,104 or 1,483 feet down the side of a cliff on the Grand Canyon, and then there's an entrance. And then you go in there and there's hieroglyphs. supposedly a bunch of mummies stuck on a wall, and they're all male. So let's see. The native tribes of the Native Americans and the Hopi, the Navajo, Zuni, Apache, and many others hold the Grand Canyon as a sacred place, and said that ant people and lizard people used to come out of these caves. So when the Native Americans found the Grand Canyon, they went out there and there was other. They called them little people with scaly skin, big eyes, so like aliens. They also talked about silver canoes that flew through the sky. These are Native American legends over in Arizona and at the Grand Canyon. The technology what was thought to be impossible thousands of years ago must have been at least 5 to 1,000 years before the Bronze Age. These people were smelting, making copper and bronze swords and shields. And let me see what you guys are saying. What about the lizard people? So the original Navajo and the Hopi have legends of the ant people. That's what they called them. You can see the hieroglyphs of the ant people if you look that up. Look up the Western United States and type in hieroglyphs of ant people. You'll see those hieroglyphs. They're little alien-looking things, and they got big eyes and like antenna and stuff. So seemed that these caverns and these cavern systems and the dating of some of these objects seemed impossible for at that time. The Hopi have legends of the ant people who flew down in a silver canoe and showed the Hopi people when there was bad stuff going on in the West way back. I'm sure it was probably storms and floods, maybe a volcano went off, but these people, the gods from the flew down in a silver canoe and saved the Hopi by showing them these caverns and these different like caves to hide in. So that's an old legend of the Navajo and the Hopi. Saving the Hopi from the Earth's cataclysm. Silver's canoes were flying through the air. An American legend. It might have something to do with Atlantis times. That's why I put that in there, because they think maybe it was like partly a flood, and that's why the silver canoes came down and saved some of the Native Americans and showed them these caves in the Grand Canyon. See, it goes crazy, dude. What I just said even sounds, whoa, what? So just learning about all this stuff, and like I've heard the Egyptian stuff from the caves before, like I've heard about these stories for years, but really looking into it, then you start to realize how much information we actually have on this, and it seems to line up that that is why a lot of the land is shut down and you can't go out there. G.E. Kincaid went out there looking for gold and silver and stuff because he heard the Grand Canyon had gold and silver, and then he found this stuff. Oh, you took your puppy out, Michael Birkin. What's up? I'm glad you're back. Hell, I've never been to Catalina Island. The motherfucking Catalina wine mixer. Boats and hoes. Boats and hoes. Demolition Man? I love that movie. Pomp. I watched a YouTube video the other day that worked in Buckingham Palace 22 years. Said the Queen was a lizard. Well, maybe she was. I don't know. How old did she live to be? She was old. She was 90 something. Maybe she was a lizard person. She ain't dead. She's just underground. Elvis, too. So I still have 2 more pages because I wrote a lot on this one. Because I'm only doing one conspiracy theory because this connects to so many different conspiracy theories. Like they talk about Antarctica with the Black Pyramid under the ice, and they found it and it's giving off power, and Richard E. Byrd going flying underground into this civilization that lived underground. That's what we're talking about just in the Grand Canyon now. crazy to me we don't actually know our history and how long people have had certain technologies. Like, we obviously lived before and we had higher technology than we have now because we can't still really figure out the pyramids, or we couldn't do that ourselves, and we don't know how exactly they did it. But there's other things too that line up with that, that you just can't say something happened. There was some type of cataclysm that we kind of went back to the beginning and had to start over with our technology. Let's see. Silver Canoe. The Smithsonian has denied all claims of artifacts or even G.E. Kincaid's historic search through the Grand Canyon. They don't even say he did that. He was never part of the Smithsonian, that he never brought people out there. He did. They have records of that. There's stuff to say G.E. Kincaid went out to the freaking Colorado River, went down the river looking for different stuff and found this stuff. Artifacts are still hiding in the Smithsonian, such as giant skulls, giant skeletons, giant coffins. The artifacts have been found all over the place, from Alaska all the way to Mexico, for giant skeletons, weird, older artifacts of metal objects that shouldn't exist because we didn't get to the Bronze Age yet. But let's see, what else? The cave is located on Isis Mountain, 1,486 feet on the side of a cliff. Some of them in the canyon, names of the area are Isis Temple, Tower of Set, Horus, the Chapas Pyramid, Ra. The whole area is off limits, no trespassing, even for archaeologists, or you have to get special permits, basically. And historian Jerry Willis and his wife went to one of these found locations that G.E. Kincaid was supposed to have gone to. They found it, and they said they found G.E. Kincaid's camp area, hookup spots to go over the cliff. So they took pictures, and then that white plane showed up and flew right past them through the canyon. So they left, and they haven't gone back because they feel like they'd be in too much trouble, or who knows what will happen. It's probably Men in Black that make sure people don't get in there. Or the caves have been blocked off, most of the caves in the area. While you can go to the Grand Canyon and see it, it's actually mostly blocked off. You cannot get to most areas or caves. Willis and his wife, walking in the area, a unmarked plane flew by. They never returned after that. They did, however, film and mark where the spot is. Another warning to another couple that were walking in the area, got a black helicopter. G. Kincaid also said he found a giant Buddha statue in the temple, and so some of these areas in the Grand Canyon are actually called Buddha Temple. Mountains are renamed different things in the area that are like Tibetan monk, like just all different names of different things in the Grand Canyon are named after Egyptian or Tibetan or different cultures. Archaeologists have found mounds. Hold on, what's this? The Smithsonian U.S. government since 1981 have been hiding all these archaeological finds, and we should have somebody to release these. So Donald Trump released the stuff about the Grand Canyon mystery. There we go. Let's see what he says. I know he watches my stuff, and he thinks I'm awesome. Long ago, all over America, even Vikings were proven to land about 500 years before Christopher Columbus. The skeletons that they found were 7 or 8 feet tall, and there are some records of these skeletons. We do have records of giant skeletons found. Smithsonian hiding them, blah, blah, blah. I think I'm almost done with this part, and then we'll chat. The stone coffins that were found were over 8.5 feet tall, and some of the bones were still in the coffins. The skeletons and the bones had disappeared since. The Smithsonian still denies this. The coffins are gone. 2013 or 2011. I don't remember when because I didn't write it down. But they did find them, and the Smithsonian came out and said, yeah, we do have the giant coffins and some of the bones, but they're in an area of the Smithsonian locked down, and there's asbestos, so we can't go look at them. So yeah, good excuse. But some of the Mexican giants have been found and covered up by the government, up to 10, 15, even 20 feet tall. Some of these people, red-haired giants, there's legends of all these giants, right? And people that talk about giants, there's even a guy that was on YouTube talking about giants, and he said he caught one on camera and then he disappeared. So it's kind of, yeah. These old civilizations are covered up and hidden for the technology and the money and the greed of the governments and the Smithsonian. Because if this technology got out, or say we knew about, because I've talked about this before, if we looked into Stubblefield Earth Battery or some of these inventions from the 1900s, you could have free electricity by now. We have way more technology that is suppressed, and we should have free electricity, and the whole world should be okay and powered easily. These facts of giants and old technology are remained covered up, and the facts are we should know more about our history as a human race. That was the last thing I wrote. I kind of got tired of writing after like 5 pages. Ugh. What's going on, Mad Mountain? So, if you want to know about Egyptian Grand Canyon mystery stuff, just go back, watch it. Tesla, Nikola Tesla, my favorite inventor. So, I know pretty much everything about Tesla. The fact he got robbed, basically, he got robbed, he got gypped, he got J.P. Morgan screwed him over. Basically, J.P. Morgan said, "Oh, you're going to give free electricity to the world with wireless electricity? I can't do that because I can't charge people money for it." So then he got kicked out. And AC current is the most used electricity now, not DC. DC current was pushed by other people, and they even killed elephants in the streets with AC current to say it's dangerous, but it's not. Okay, what else you want to talk about? We want to talk about that. I gotta actually grab a beer. But let's see what you guys are saying. Mad Paranormal. This was a program on a BBC One English TV about 8 people who worked on Tutankhamun's pyramid, opening it up, and all 8 people died or lost their lives yet within a few months in opening the tomb. Crazy program. So that happens a lot. That still can happen today. There's some prominent people in Egypt. I keep track of a lot of things: Egyptian discoveries, space discoveries, underground discoveries. So we did scan the whole Earth. I don't know if you know about this. We scanned the whole Earth with radiation waves hitting Earth. We used certain telescopes and satellites, scanned Earth, and there are voids found underground. So this is why I believe in hollow Earth. And part of the scientific study and research of this, they said possibly some structures under Earth that we don't understand. So there's stuff like that. There's Atlantis. Who knows if we've already found Atlantis and we're just looking at it and it doesn't make sense to us, so we're not sure that it's Atlantis. Bimini Road, the Eye of Africa. There's so many spots that we think Atlantis is. It's probably Antarctica was Atlantis and drifted away. See, there's theories for everything. There's conspiracy theories every which way. So it's hard to keep track of UFO, paranormal, and then conspiracies, cryptids, science stuff, the scientific fields of, right now, magnetic North Pole has shifted so far that GPS systems can be affected, ships, planes, everything can be affected from the North Pole shifting so far. If you don't know about that, look up magnetic North Pole and how far it's shifted. It's not good. We are 700,000 years overdue for it. Haunted history is usually my favorite. Legends of different towns. Almost every town has a different legend. That's what I'm in love with. Read up SrSpookfest at Gallant State Park, Burkittsville, Maryland. Mad Mountain, I know all about it. I watched the Blair Witch in a tent up in Maine. I gotta go back in chat. Sorry. I live in Colorado Springs. I love Colorado. You know what's in Colorado? The Denver airport. Ooh, that place is weird. We found out a guy who was hung in Oxford jail, now hotel, is buried outside the gate and his bones were left in there. Still there to this day, mental. I wonder how many others are under there. That's crazy, Mad Paranormal. There's so much cool stuff like that that I love. I would love to go over to England, jump the pond. Do you follow sound frequency technology? You better believe it. And I think the Monroe Institute. I want to go to the Monroe Institute. I've had out of body experiences. I've even been having a lot more lucid dreams, but I've been practicing meditating and stuff. The Monroe Institute's here in Virginia, where I am, and it's not too far. I do want to go do some OBE training. I don't know if I've told you guys this. Maybe some of you have heard it, but I fell off a car when I was 16 and died for a minute. I think a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But I was floating over my body. I saw my friends standing there. The next thing I remember was waking up in a helicopter getting med flighted. But yeah, there's definitely something after this. The place I went was weird but comfortable and nice and relaxing, and then I got pulled out of it. Somebody pulled me out of it. It's hard to explain. Nikola Tesla died penniless and alone and in a New York hotel room. Yeah, and all his stuff got taken by Donald Trump's uncle in the FBI. All his research and paperwork, really. A lot of the inventions that he had disappeared because those are some of the high-tech free power, free wireless. I mean, he was the person that came out with radio control. He came out with AC current. He came out with wireless electricity. Wardenclyffe Tower, Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower would have worked. The problem with that is, though, electrifying the air. You really can't do that everywhere. Alright, let me grab a beer and I'll be right back. And we'll talk more about all of this. Just shut them off. Oh, I'm back. What's up? So, what are you guys talking about? Let's see. I don't know. Have you guys ever had lucid dreaming or OBE, out of body experience, or near death experience? Even wrote about the lady in white or black. There's a lady in white at the lighthouse near me, AV Stevie, at Fort Monroe. That's the book of Fort Monroe. It tells you a bunch of different stories. The lady in white, dead at the lighthouse, waiting for her husband, the seaman, to come back. I didn't do good. That's too much foam. I'm gonna have to wait. So, I mean, really, let me see. Thumbs up. You like the Egyptian, or you think Grand Canyon doesn't have any hieroglyphs or any old civilization? static is the only uncontrolled electricity. Static electricity, you could do things with static electricity buildup. People have played with that. I wish my chat would stay. I don't know how to make my chat stay. It always disappears and then I gotta hit buttons. You've seen her walking back and forth, AV Stevie? That's awesome. Yeah, Occult Life. Tesla is my favorite inventor. So, him and Stubblefield, this guy that owned a farm, came up with the Earth battery, and that Earth battery should be used still to this day. I don't understand why we don't use it. It's basically just a coil of wire and a big metal rod stuck in the ground, and you use Earth's electrical charge to power things. North Pole, magnetic North Pole, South Pole, we have a giant magnet. We have an ionosphere. We have a magnetic field around us. We can do things with it. We should tap into it and use it. I think that's how some Egyptians had light bulbs, because there's no burn marks inside of any pyramids. The world's biggest pyramid is actually in South America. The Aztecs or the Mayans built it, and it's actually bigger than the Great Pyramid. I do say stuff like that. You can look it up for yourself and see if you can find it. I watch a lot of things, so some are facts and some are like, okay, maybe, possibly. So a lot of these are conjecture or conspiracy theories. But the thing about conspiracy theories, how many have been coming out true? Especially lately, nowadays. So like the new conspiracy theory on that helicopter crash. Black Hawk helicopters don't just crash into stuff. Those are the most highly trained helicopter pilots in the world. Those people do not just crash into things. The testing and the amount of testing and flight training you have to go through to fly a Black Hawk helicopter is ridiculous. I watched a 2-hour thing on it the other day. So, yeah, that plane crash, another conspiracy theory. The other one in Pennsylvania, I think just engine failure. That was a med flight. I feel bad for those people. That's horrible. It's terrible what happened, but I don't think the Black Hawk hitting the plane was an accident. There's a lot of things going on. The California fires, no help for North Carolina or Florida, like FEMA, $700, here you go. I mean, if you watch any videos of Florida, it's still buried under sand. A lot of houses and stuff are just full of sand and going to be destroyed. And then FEMA said if it's more than 50% destroyed, you can't rebuild. So, okay, you're just going to, take stuff from people? It's horrible what's going on. And I think we can try and, yeah, Trump should be helping now. He's done a lot, and he's doing a lot. I'm glad I got to see the new JFK footage. It does look like the guy in the front seat shot him in the face, and that's why his brains get blown out the back of his head. Is it true or not? Who knows at this point, but MLK, RFK, and JFK all came out, and that's great, but I still want to know about the UAP and the drones and the UFO. Basically told us it was the same thing that we were told, military testing. It is the military, and they're searching for something, but what are they searching for? One of the egg UFOs? I should have an egg with me. Wait, I do. A little beer mustache. I got the Jurassic Park egg with the mosquito in it. I'm actually cloning stuff myself. Few T-Rexes. Yeah, even a plane falling in Philly doesn't look like it goes that fast. Different terminal velocity for a plane though falling out of the sky. I don't know. People did say it looks like a freaking missile. But I think it was a med flight jet flying back to Mexico or something. That helicopter was about 200 feet too high, yeah, or maybe 100 feet. Spectral Whispers looks into a lot of plane crash stuff and different things. I mean, a lot of airplanes have gone missing and never returned, but 1989, I believe 8 years before or something, a plane disappeared, but then it ended up landing somewhere. There's one of those stories that's very interesting about an airplane disappearing and then reappearing years later with all the passengers, and they didn't age. Weird things like that I love. The drones came back as soon as the FAA lifted the bans of drone flight. They never left, but what now there's even more, and some of these are orbs and stuff. Yeah, did you see the helicopter flew in front of three other airplanes before it eventually went and hit that airplane? 1961, the ice skating team in the same area in Washington got hit by a small plane or a helicopter and they all died. 1961, the ice skating team, and it happened again. Um, what's up with that? That's so weird to me. I find that very weird. My apologies to the families. It's very sad what happened. I I just think that something happened with that helicopter. Either it was remote controlled, maybe, or something happened where they just didn't see it. I highly doubt that. Those are pros. Those are military people flying those Black Hawk helicopters. They don't miss an airplane flying, especially with three of them in it, and some of them are like flight instructors or whatever. But the conspiracies keep going on and on. Like, especially since 2025, we just got hit with like so many. Right before that, with the storms and the hurricanes, and still my favorite are old legends. I still like the monsters, and one of my favorites now is the meat monster at Fort Monroe. That's in this book. And some general saw a meat monster swimming through the moat of the old fort. Crazy stories like that. Shadow people running on the ramparts. They said they had the plane in flight. They think it was a wrong plane and that it saw another one right behind it. Oh, like another plane was ahead of it, and they thought that was the plane that. Well, they also said there was only one flight coordinator instead of two. There should probably always be two. Yeah, Spectral Whispers, of course I know you are, definitely. Such weird stuff. And there was another plane that got circled by orb UFOs and then disappeared on video. Some has been proven fake, some has been like proven maybe it was real. I think that was Malaysian Air or something. I forget, near like Australia or above Australia somewhere, and it just disappeared off the map. And they had it on radar and everything, and then it just disappears. There's some crazy ones, like I forget the flight number of that. Who's beeping outside my house? Hello? In that airspace should have absolutely been at least two. Yeah. I mean, your oversensitive areas like that is crazy, and now that's like a whole new conspiracy theory. That's gone wild. The fog conspiracy has gone wild. I'm still more interested in the drones. I've seen at least three of those drones. One of them shut its lights off over in Yorktown. Shut the lights off maybe 40 feet above the trees, and then a red orb she zoomed past us. And it was just me and a guy driving on the back roads. My GPS had glitched, took me 3 miles out of my way past the house that I was supposed to go to, and then glitched again as soon as the red orb disappeared and told me to go the correct way again. So, like, I was drawn in that direction to see that or something. I wasn't looking for anything, I was just doing deliveries. Yeah, the Blackhawks altitude was too high. They were supposed to be 200 AGI instead of they were at 350. Black Hawk helicopter flight pilots do not mess that kind of stuff up. I mean, now, does this have to do with something with the magnetic North Pole shifting? GPS can get fucked up because animals have been getting fucked up. think about the birds. Everything's getting fucked up that uses GPS naturally because of magnetic North Pole shift. It's shifted way further. It's almost in like Russia now. It's not the North Pole. Magnetic North Pole is way over from where it should be. Now, there's always been natural slight movement, but it's moved a lot further than it usually would have. And I think it was every 300,000 years the Earth is supposed to actually flip. So if you think of a magnet over time, we have an iron core flipping, and so then every 300,000 years the magnet might flip over. What's that going to do to temperatures is Canada and all that stuff, and like some of North America going to be tropical, and then everything Texas and like the southern, South America, all going to be frozen. If the world actually flips over, I don't know what will happen. It doesn't seem like it would be very good. Australia will be on top of the world for once. Crikey. I'm off to sleep. Mad Paranormal. Thanks for chatting. Yeah, leave a comment or whatever, what you think about the Egyptian Grand Canyon stuff. I mean, you should look up some of this stuff yourself. It's very interesting. The fact that the Smithsonian is probably covering it up. I mean, look up the TV show Smithsonian Secret Vaults. Um, they have silver stores. They have ancient relics. They do have giant skulls, and I still believe that. And they even had a TV show for a little while, In Search of Giants, and these guys went up and down the east coast of America looking for giants because they have been found before, and I believe there were giants. Safe to say that Earth flips over, we won't survive. um, I'll survive. I'm getting in a boat. Uh, However, it'll be cheaper plane tickets going to tropical Canada and use Bora Bora. Yeah, Ivy Stevie. So if you're in a really cold climate right now, you might want to stay where you are. Give it like 4 or 5 years, will probably be flipped, and then a year or two after that, you're going to be in tropics. I don't know the amount of tsunamis and stuff that would happen. I did just see Greece has earthquakes, and they're actually afraid of some volcanoes over in the Greek islands. Another fun fact about some of the Greek islands on Sicily and Santorini. So the island of Santorini actually used to be called the Land of Giants. It was called something actually different back then, like before Roman times, like Roman time shit. And people used to go there and say giants, 10-foot people would greet them, and sometimes they would actually, eat people. And giants were living on this island out in the Sicily and Italy, like the Mediterranean Sea. Some of those islands I'm very interested in. There's some of the biggest volcanoes that have ever gone off are over there. I forget the names of them, so this is why I usually write a lot of stuff down. But I know some of the biggest volcanic eruptions have happened over there, and they can show it in their land. You'll see it on their cliffs in their land of different layers of, okay, this is before the eruption and then after the eruption. The world would be no longer, but the thing is, if the world flips every 300,000 years, our great great ancestors were probably around 300,000 years ago. That's really not that long ago. Time, works weird. People were around probably 300,000 years ago. Just hairier forms of us, maybe. Like, I don't know what the evolution of people, but we are a lot smarter now and everything. And I think every generation usually gets smarter, but now we're kind of going into idiocracy and we're actually getting dumber. I loved the one where my teachers used to say, "You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time." Well, you're wrong. You're not going to have the answers to everything all the time. You're wrong. What surprises me is still the disclosure of these great technologies. Like, we don't disclose it. These UFOs, the fact that we probably lived way before. I mean, look at I can't say it. Gobekli Tepe. Look at Gobekli Tepe. That's 12,000 years old. It's the oldest found structures on the earth, older than Stonehenge, older than everything, the pyramids. 12,000 years old proves that people were, building monoliths and different things. There's animals carved all over it, different hieroglyphs. Um, there's another conspiracy theory about the handbag. There's a handbag and hieroglyphs all over the world. That's some handbag. Probably some technology inside the handbag. Egyptians did it. The Sumerians did it. Anunnaki. You're talking Nephilim. There's so many different cultures. China, every continent. There's maps from 1500s that actually show Antarctica, and we didn't find Antarctica until the 1800s. So how are there maps from the 1500s that are showing Antarctica, and some of these maps even show weird animals, mammoths and flying giant creatures, thunderbirds. But that's not like, I still am just scratching the surface of all this stuff. If you really start to look into some of this, you can get way further, and it's deep rabbit holes. It gets weird. And I mean, how much is connected? How much is true? I say a lot of it. I believe a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that it's exactly how the story is told. A lot of legends come from some truth. Myths and legends come from some truth, but people love a good story. They like to make superheroes. They like to make super crazy stuff. They like the most extreme drama, death. Drama's a big one. Everybody loves drama. If you could start enough shit on YouTube, oh, you'll get a lot of views. I mean, look at Jake Paul and his brother. You start enough shit, you get very popular by being an asshole. Basically, I love doing YouTube. It's just fun for me. It is a hobby. I don't ever expect to like make money or do anything like that big. But on the other hand, it's partly for me. It's partly for you. You guys enjoy some of this stuff. I enjoy all of this stuff. I love it. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't happy and having fun doing it. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. I get in trouble sometimes. Talking about everything, copyright, drama, people saying you're fake, doing, some assholes. There's always trolls. It gets, you can get burnt out. Sometimes I'll switch subjects. I won't even do an investigation of paranormal. I'll just start doing museums or go to a skate park. Do something else for a while. You gotta switch stuff up. I am building a game that you guys will probably all love. I'm still in the process of building it, but I'm gonna keep it secret. I will show it soon enough. It's getting close to being done. So new game. Um, More wands. I'm gonna be making more wands. Oh, if Michael Birkin's still here, I still gotta send you yours. I never got a chance to send it, but I will be sending it this week. Damn straight, people love madness. That's right, Mad Paranormal. I mean, the more controversial you are, the more views you get. I don't really care about views, which is wrong, but work the algorithm don't. I think I did a 10-second short video and it got 10,000 views or something. Great. It's just a stupid little funny video, but I don't want to make 10-second videos. That's maybe once in a while if I catch something cool and it's only for a few seconds. You might see that. Like, I think my UFO I caught out in front of my house here is only 30 seconds. But that's only because I only caught it while it was taking off. I probably watched it for 2 minutes as just a orb out in front of my house here, not thinking anything because I have helicopters. I live next to Norfolk Military Base in Virginia, the biggest military base on the East Coast. So helicopters, airplanes, jets, everything flies over my house. You get used to it pretty quick, And then you see something weird like this shit going on with drones. People are like, oh, it's nothing. Even the government, don't worry about it. It's not a threat. You're fine. I don't know about that. One of the carrier water planes got hit by one of the drones while trying to dump water on fires in California. Why? How did that happen? Shit don't make sense. They like it had to be big enough to actually dent the plane. It dented the wing and took the wing out. So there's a huge dent in this airplane wing. That's not a commercial drone. That's not like the drone I have. Um, these are little tiny things. They're small, maybe like 2 pounds at the most. If you're flying a drone and it's over a certain weight, you have to get permissions. You can't fly, and I couldn't fly my drone around my house. That's why I still haven't done it. I plan on flying the drone and getting some footage of different areas, but I got to be out of the military zone. I got to get. I don't want to be anywhere near. I don't want to get in trouble flying a drone around. um, Fort Monroe would be great, but I can't fly my drone there. There's too much military aircraft going through the air. There's a couple other places I think I can fly the drone. I'll probably go near the skate park, some deep woods over near Yorktown, as long as I'm not next to the airport or the military installations. There's a lot of places I still have to get to. Here in Virginia, I have so much history around me, it's ridiculous. I can't get to all of it. I never will. It'll take me 40 years. Everybody is getting a bit much, and the whole world seems to be going through a nasty change, and the government are keeping the obvious from us. Mad Paranormal, you got that fucking right. The problem with some of the technology stuff is you're letting the world down by hiding some of these technologies. And not just the world, you're letting a lot of people down that don't need to pass away. We don't need to have the disasters can be avoided. A lot of these disasters can be avoided. There shouldn't be any starving people on the planet. Actually, we're not overpopulated. If you look at populations, it's all sparse. Maybe some areas are overpopulated, but the Earth isn't overpopulated. That's a whole lie. Climate change is a real thing, obviously. Look at Florida and Texas. They just had record snowfall. But that does have to do with magnetic North Pole shifting. They wouldn't have got 7 inches in Florida or whatever they got in Texas. Um, there's a lot of things like that we should be talking about. As people, as just fucking civilians, as I'm not a scientist. I'm an electrician and I've done HVAC my whole life. But I also have common sense and I understand how if the magnetic North Pole shifts like this, yeah, you're gonna have different weather in different areas for new records all over the world. There's gonna be storms. There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more and more each year. The more it moves, the more we get. Um, it's just common sense. You can figure out a lot of things by common sense. It's a bullshit thing that our government doesn't have technology that we could use to actually like implement free electricity. Yes, we do. What we use is about 30, 40 years behind what the military actually has for electric and power. You're 1902, 1903, there was an electric car that would drive 70 miles. The electric car isn't a new thing. I don't think anybody realizes that. There was a car in the 80s that ran on water. There was something called the hydrogen splitter. Guess what? That guy disappeared. The government disappeared him. MIB, come at me, bro. I can't get in trouble for talking about this stuff, but if I decided to build something, which I could, as an electrician, I could build something and make free power and do all that. But what happens after that, I don't want to know, so I don't build it. I've read enough of Nikola Tesla. I've read enough of different battery systems. I've worked in electric field I did it for 5, 6 years. I went to school for 3 years. very easily could build something that would be way better. I don't think windmills are a great choice. Wind power can be good, but I think that's more for like oceans. Um, Solar panels only last 5 years when we could have them lasting for 20 years. I bet a lot of people don't know that. I've worked at different solar companies. I've roofed, I've done roofing, I've done carpentry, I've done HVAC, I've done electrical, I've done road works, I've done everything in construction. Fiber optics are pretty cool. Solar panels are pretty cool. The problem is the manufactured solar panels that we get are crap. They're 20% power of what we could be using, probably 60-70% power. They don't put those out. They wouldn't make enough money, so it is greed. These big monopolies, conglomerates, the rich. Um, Elon Musk is saying he wants to go to Mars by 2030. He wants people on Mars or something. In 2050, he wants 1 million people on Mars. Good luck with that. I mean, Buzz Aldrin did an interview and talked about monoliths and different structures on the moon. Why would Buzz Aldrin come out and talk about that stuff? And then he says when people find out about this, they will be shocked. But there's other stuff. There's things out there that we just are, I don't know, too busy, too conceited, too greedy, too neglectful. There's a lot of things I can say that um, it's not fun to know some facts and know that we could have certain things that are 20 years in the future but aren't used because it's money. And they're never going to tell you how those drones are flying for nights and days and flying those many miles. And I mean, some battery pack systems are different. We have new technology coming out every day. They just created the fastest, near fast as speed as of light engine. We're just figuring out plasma. We're just figuring out invisibility. That's a thing now. We have invisibility. I mean, you can just look that up. And you don't even need much. It's just a bent panel of certain polymer, and you can be invisible. I want some of the technology from these drones flying around that I've seen personally. I want it to make a hoverboard so I can hover on, make it like a skateboard. I don't really want much. Rich people being greedy. You should design a new solar panel and make yourself millions of dollars. No, because I'll be dead. You think they would let me do that? No. The photovoltaic film inside of a solar panel is the weakest we can make it. They put it at about 20% power. Solar panels could be way more powerful, last for a lot longer. They don't tell you about that. I've worked for a lot of solar companies. You can get free solar panels in a lot of states now, which is great. I think you should get solar panels. If every house had solar panels, you're feeding the grid power and you get paid for that. So maybe look into some solar panels. Problem is, they only last about 5 years. What we could make for solar panels, some of the solar panels are made to last longer. Problems with solar panels, you got to clean them. There's snow, dust, dirt, clouds. You got to think that's not the answer. I do think some of these hydrogen splitter engines could be way more effective used. Hydrogen, all you got to do is take water, split oxygen, hydrogen, use the hydrogen. You can run a car. You could run a lot of things. There's Tesla's doing a great job. He is the new one with the cars. Yet I don't think they'll let him push it further. They don't want him to do any further than what he's doing right now. It's just you're taking from the economy, kind of. but you're not, because it would be creating new jobs and there's new technology and blah blah blah. There's the scary parts are AI and all this crap coming out. I mean, what did they call it? Stargate. Great movie, but maybe don't call your new AI system Stargate. I mean, you might as well call it Skynet and the Terminator's coming. But I think I'm going to end this. You guys are all great. Thank you so much for coming in, talking. Why terraform a planet that's inhabitable by those resources we use to fix our own who we live on? Mad Mountain, you're telling me. The other thing though is Mars was probably habitable. There are structures, the face on Mars, the pyramids. We know there's structures on Mars. Um, you could terraform it, but you're talking movie level, holy shit, stunt level shit, like Arnold Schwarzenegger mega melting 10,000 tons of ice to terraform that bitch. Uh, um, it is crazy, bro. Mad paranormal. Rich people being fucking greedy. It really is, too, because even if you look back at Nikola Tesla's time, he was taken out by J.P. Morgan and a few other people. Communication systems are probably going to be fucked up. GPS is going to be fucked up. How fast is the magnetic North Pole actually moving? We don't know. That scares me more than anything. Out of all the things happening, magnetic North Pole shifting that far, I don't think it's a good sign. Also, Earth's crust is shifting. Look at Greece. They just had earthquakes. Hopefully, they don't have a volcanic eruption. Um, I forget the name of the volcano over there, but there is a mega volcano over there. Yellowstone kind of scares me, but I don't think that will go off yet. Yellowstone's a mega volcano. I don't know if like how much you guys know. I just I go through too much to even fucking think about everything. But hey, listen, helicopter is coming. I'm if MIB break in, I'm taking them out. You guys, I'm gonna have to. Thank you, Mad Paranormal. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, next one, I'll probably do another conspiracy in my room. Next investigation, I do want to go over to Fort Monroe and do that one again. I want to get to the quarters one where Abraham Lincoln stayed. I'm going to see if, I think it was Susan, will knock on the window. Hopefully I don't get in trouble again. I don't think you're really supposed to ghost hunt in there, but I can always ghost hunt on the beach. UFO watch. The other thing, I'm going to be watching because now we have things with disclosure for egg UFO or UAP. I'm going to be watching the ocean a little bit more because I do feel like I could see something come out of the ocean. The other thing I want to look for in the ocean, I might want to stay out on the ocean when it gets warmer out and stay on the beach. I want to see the green flash. I don't know if any of you guys know about the green flash. Supposedly, there's a green flash. It's in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's an old legend of the green flash over the ocean. Supposedly, somebody coming back from the afterlife or maybe going to the afterlife. If I ever saw the green flash, I'd be so excited. I've always wanted to see that. Some more stuff I'm going to be doing. Back up to Bridgewater Triangle. Definitely this summer. Spring, summer, I'm going to go back up there. Do some investigations. I don't know. I think Oliver House is closed, but I did want to get back there. If I can go in there, I will. Oliver House, very interesting place. Benjamin Franklin wrote notes there and sent them all around, and there's secret uh, underground basement stuff like Native American burial mounds. Where else was I gonna go? Iowa. I think we're gonna go back out to Iowa this summer, and the Villisca Axe Murder House is out there. There's a couple of insane asylums and a few things on the way. I will stop back at Point Pleasant for Mothman Museum stuff. I want to get to the TNT area. Um, there's a couple other places. Indiana, there was something I wanted to do there. I can't think of everything right now, but I really appreciate all you guys. I'm gonna get going. Check out some of this shit I've been talking about. It's crazy. The world is a crazy awesome place. Mysteries and myths and legends all over. Who knows if I'm right? Maybe we'll find out soon enough. But you guys have a great one. I love all of you. Next investigation soon. Peace out.